Hello, this video is for Wednesday, May 27th for ELA. We're going to be reading the second part of Chapter 8 today for Esperanza Rising. So I want you to think before we start reading today about whether or not you've ever had a rival or someone who always seems like they're against you, and thinking about what that feels like and what your relationship is like with that person and how you feel when you're around them. Because in this section, Esperanza is going to encounter someone that's kind of like a rival to her. So today, based on that, we're going to be making inferences about characters and their relationships. So good readers can make inferences about characters by combining their prior knowledge about something, what they already know, with clues from the text. So things like what the character says, does, thinks, feels, and how they act. We know that relationships evolve over time, they change. We think of this as relationships getting either stronger or weaker. And knowing that, we think about how the character sees the relationship, how they feel about the relationship. Are they satisfied? Do they want the relationship to get stronger? Or are they feeling like they need a little bit more distance from that character? Do they want it to grow weaker? So we think about the character's life, their history, and their past, and their relationships with others. So as you're reading today, you may want to ask yourself, what details does the author use to describe this character? How do the characters feel about each other? And what can you conclude about these characters and their relationships? Are they close or are they rivals, as I mentioned at the beginning? So I'm going to read the first section and do the first question with you so that we can practice this skill, thinking about how the character is in this scene, it's going to be Esperanza and how she feels. So we're going to start here. The platform was lit up with big lights. Men from the camp in starch and pressed shirts and cowboy hats sat in chairs tuning their guitars and violins. Long rows of tables were covered in bright tablecloths where women sold tamales, desserts, and the specialty agua de Jamaica, hibiscus flower water punch made with the red Mexican Jamaica bloom. There was bingo on wooden tables and a long line of chairs circling the dance area for those who wanted to watch. That's where Mama and Hortensia sat, talking to other women. Esperanza stayed close to them, watching the growing crowd. "Where do all these people come from?" she asked. The other night she had heard Juan say that about 200 people lived in their camp, but there were many more than that now. "These fiestas are popular. People come from the camp," said Josefina, "and from Bakersfield, too." When the music started, everyone crowded around the platform, clapping and singing. People started dancing in the area around the stage. Children ran everywhere, chasing and hiding. Men held young boys on their shoulders, and women swaddled their infants, all of them swaying to the sounds of the small band. After a while, Esperanza left Mama and the others and wandered through the noisy crowd, thinking about how strange it was that she could be in the middle of so many people and still feel so alone. She saw a group of girls who seemed about her age, but they were huddled together. More than anything, she wished Marisol were here. Isabel found her and pulled on her hand. "Esperanza, come and see." Esperanza let herself be led through the crowd. Someone from town had brought a litter of kittens. A group of girls were crowded next to the cardboard box and cooing and cradling them. It was clear that Isabel desperately wanted one. Esperanza whispered to her, "I will go ask your mother." She wove back through the crowd to find Josefina, and when she agreed, Esperanza practically ran back to the spot to tell Isabel. But when she got there, a bigger crowd had gathered and something else was going on. So I'm going to pause here. The first question for today asks you to think about this sentence, which I can mark it up for you. Esperanza practically ran back to the spot to tell Isabel, and thinking about how she might feel in this situation. So what does it really suggest about Esperanza? If you go and ask permission for something and then you run back to go tell someone, you either have really good news or really bad news. So if you look a little bit earlier, it says when she agreed. So Esperanza is obviously going to feel happy because Isabel is going to get the kitten because she said she's going to go ask her and the mom said yes. So when we look at the answer choices, we're thinking that Esperanza feels excited because the news is going to make Isabel happy. So even though the author didn't tell us that Esperanza was happy, we can infer that because it says that the mom agreed and then Esperanza ran back to tell Isabel. So clearly something good is happening. So that's your answer choice for the first one. And as you continue reading the chapter, you're going to think more about these relationships and the characters' feelings, even when the author doesn't come out and tell us directly. So enjoy the rest of the chapter, and we will talk later on Zoom.